But just put it out with the fire extinguisher. I don't have time to help. You can handle that. Yeah. Hello! Great to have you here, everybody. I don't know if you're all here yet, but I'm here. I'm John Zidar. This is the live streaming event for On Top and Hot, brought to you by Penny Boys, your favorite Discord group on the internet, giving you all the education you could want. So we've got my local gang here all the time. Without you, I wouldn't have a show. We'd be starting off with scratch, waiting for someone to come. 10 minutes go by. Oh, there's a ticker. Let's see what it is. No, I can trust Belmore and MBS and Kashira, who I just discovered has identified himself as a he. I've been portraying him as a her. God, it's tough enough when you do see people. It's harder when you don't. My bad. We'll keep that straight. I should just say y'all and never have to worry, right? Let's see, Mark Ryan. Great to have you, Mark. Fletcher. Yeah, I got your LPSN. That is right where we cut it. I did get a request from somebody on Twitter, I think it was, for CRCW. I just started to look at it, but never got into it. So maybe that's where we'll pick up. So it's been a good first day of the year. How'd you guys do? It was not bad. The last day of the year stunk. It started off good, then it went off day, which I expected would mean the first day would bounce. And it was not bad. Now, I don't play all the stocks and look at all the market. I'm only looking at stocks that are really running and my stocks. And the stocks that I was playing over at Penny Boys were all running today. I seen lots and lots of them. And then my stocks were doing real good. I actually had two sweet plays today. One was an Apple put. Yeah, I like to play options occasionally. I'm no expert at it, but I do dabble. And I bought a little one. It only had 1 day left on it for $35. That's all I paid. It was 2 tiers out of the money. And by the time I sold just after lunch, it was 2 tiers into the money, just at about $300. So I made like 780% off of a $35 option. That was good. The other one was TWOH. TWOH is a sub-penny stock. I saw it yesterday at 0008. I don't know where it was at, but they say it came up 7,000%. Well, the floor is 0001, so I'm figuring 800% minimum, but they say it was below that. I don't know how that happened, but anyways, she took a big run. I've been invested in TWOH for about 2 years, and it was a stock I actually did due diligence on. And right after I got into it, it just crashed. I'm at a loss. Well, when I saw it yesterday, I said, it's time to average down. It's moving. I've been ignoring it for a long time. I'm down $800 on it. I've got 870 invested. Yeah. This was a bad bag I got a long time ago. So I doubled up, more than doubled my holdings today. I bought like $100 more. I got like 120,000 shares. I had 80,000 before. So today I went from about $900 down, to about $620 down because it climbed just a little bit. But because I've got such a good price now at 0044, I am out. I get all my money back. Yes. All right, enough about me. Let's talk about you. You're looking good today. Do you know that? Love that smile. And has anyone told you how good your butt's looking? It does. All right, enough of that stuff. Let's jump on into this. I don't see anybody screaming at me here that you can't hear me. Hey, how you doing, Sandy? Black, White, Kenny, jumping in here. Me, Benjamin. Great to have y'all. All right. As long as I hit my buttons, this should be a pretty decent show. I am missing my co-host, Taylor. We had someone here for about 2 years, and then she went and got pregnant. What? Come on. And then she went and had the baby and hasn't come back. I don't want to hear excuses. I just don't want to hear it. The baby looked cute, too. She was here like 2 weeks ago. Not here, on here. All right, so the first stock we're going to take a look at, and I got to tell you, I had to really shut my computer down. It's been freezing up just before we started this. I couldn't get anything to move. My highlights were disappearing, so crossed fingers we get things to go. I locked everything out, so hopefully we got enough power still. So we're going to take a look at Nido first. Look at my little wheel going around up there. That shouldn't be happening. Nido came to me by way of Belmore, I'm sure, because she's always first in line. Mostly, yes, this came by way of Belmore. Bullets. We've got loads of volume on this stock. We've got a low float, and they've got multiple deals with a lot of different companies abroad. So let's see what we can pick up and learn here. Nido, this is N2 off. Finished today at $1.08. Wow. You see that, folks? 335% up. Aha, I wasn't aware of that. Never even saw it. So yeah, we got ourselves a hot penny stock here. It is on the NASDAQ. Now this is good. Obviously, with this increase in price, she was well under $1. She jumped 83 cents. So she was under $1 on the NASDAQ. She may have been in hot water. I don't know. I never actually looked yet. She could have been told by the NASDAQ, you've got so many days, 6 months normally, to get your price over $1, or you could go down to the OTC. We've seen a lot of that happening here. Or they could do a reverse stock split. Well, if this be the first day in that hot water, they've got 9 more days. They've got to close over $1. And then if they're in hot water, they're going to be out of it. All right, let's see what this company is about. They tell us over here that their name was Save Foods. It's actually one of their subsidiaries. Maybe they changed their name, but it's still a subsidiary they own. This is an agri-food tech company that develops and sells eco-friendly green treatments for food industry to enhance food safety and shelf life of fresh produce. Now, let me see. Oh, it's going to be slow. I can see this. Dun, 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 dun. All right, I'm bringing you over to my Twitter because I posted news this morning. This is why she was running. The company announced that its joint venture with Soterra Renewable Energy obtained an approval of 111 megawatt solar PV project in Germany. They secured municipal approval for it, and they have a low float. This morning, it was only up 49% pre-market. I posted this pre-market. That's when I post news on Twitter and my Discord group and a couple Facebook pages. I put all the news I can find and get out fast as I can get it out with little tidbits beyond the headlines so that you can know a stock to look at. This was one to watch. What else do I have for this? Oh, man, I can see this is going to be white on white, and it's taking them all. All right, I have highlighted this like 13 times. I'm exaggerating. 3 or 4 times. These pages, about 28, 30 of them. So I remember. I've highlighted them enough. We got 2 pieces of news here. NTOF announces letter of intent with Ethiopian federal agency to mandate large-scale farmers to utilize Safe Foods eco-friendly solutions. I don't mean to make a joke here, but it's kind of a little oxymoron to talk about food in Ethiopia. You know, we always think about the Ethiopian starving. Jumping into that piece of news, white on white, I'm going to lose all my highlights. Look at this. This is frustrating as all doozy. All right, while that's loading, this is the most recent piece of news that came out today. The company announces that we just read that. That is the news that we had over there, and it's not coming up. There we go. Safe Foods and Genesis PM, an Ethiopian federal agency, executed a letter of intent with lucrative potential of dozens of millions of dollars. It's a strange way to put it. So we're talking 12, 24 million, 36 million, 48 million. They say dozens of millions of dollars, the potential this has. The company has entered into a strategic non-binding letter with Genesis, the Ethiopian federal entity for pollution reduction and telnet development across Ethiopia's large-scale farming sector. Under the letter of intent that was executed with Genesis, and subject to entering into a definitive agreement, the Ethiopian government will require large-scale farmers and exporters across Ethiopia to adopt Save Foods, advanced post-harvest treatments. As part of this agreement, Safe Foods and the Ethiopian government will collaborate on establishing a local production facility in Ethiopia. So they're not just working with the company, they're working with the government. And then that other piece of news, hopefully it's come up. Jack slap you boys. Germany, they tell us that. Let me see what I highlighted. All right. This approval follows an in-depth review of the project's environmental and planting implications. They've gotten through everything, and they are now one step closer to achieving ready-to-build status, currently expected by the end of 2025. So we do have a full year here before they get to this. The MELS project is part of a broader joint venture between N2 Off and Noterra, aimed at accelerating the development of high potential renewable energy facilities across Europe. I've got to believe these are solar panels. I see that's what it seems like, but I'm not real sure what this is all about. We're going to have to do some more deep dive into this. But this is the company supporting Solterra. They're investing into Solterra, while N2 Off continues to provide financial support to Solterra, including a loan installment of £470,000 as part of a total £2 million loan. The focus remains on accelerating project development to ensure its timely progression to ready-to-build status. So that's the news. That's why she's running so hot right now. What was her relative volume? I bet it was big. Oh, my God. Jiminy. 1.6 million to 593 million, folks. I don't know, 500 times, 400 times her normal volume. That is an explosion. That is huge. Share structure for Nido. And we've got a decent float. As I said, in a lot of places, we've got a low float here. Outstanding share count is only 11.4 million. The insiders own about 3 million of those. That gives us an actual low float of about 8.5 million shares. Folks, when you're selling 500 million shares in a day and there's less than 10 million, how many times do you have to sell all those shares to get 500 million shares to flow? Right. That's when the price starts going up, supply and demand. People who understand marketing don't sell at the first target. They hang on to them because they know the volume says they want what I've got. I'm going to let the price rise before I sell. So that's what was going on today. Supply and demand with a hot catalyst. Let's check out the financials for Nido. She making any money? Yes, she is. It's been up and down. She's a little above where she was 4 years ago at $232,000. We've got to add 3 zeros to any of these numbers. Right now, we're at 263. They did get close to $500,000, but they've been falling. But they're still in the black. They're pulling in regular profits. Quarterly, that isn't looking good. Not only is the revenues falling, but they've gone into the red. They ought to make that red. We're at $67,000 to make $9,000 now. So something's changed here. Balance sheet, we got to put 3 zeros over here too. They got money in the bank, about 2.7 million. Assets, close to 6 million. Liabilities is peanuts. We're down here at $380,000. So we've got just a little bit of revenues. Profit, that just fell away. But we aren't holding a bag. We do have stockholder equity of about $5.4 million. Disclosures, I'm sure I pulled it up. Yeah, okay, I just want to mention these Form 4s. We got a whole bunch of them here. I always poke my head and look. Form 4s are filed whenever the insiders acquire or dispose of the company stock, the stock you and I trade. So I'm always interested if they buy it or sell it. Now, they can get it and lose it in a lot of different ways. So when you jump in, all you got to do is look real quick right there in the center at that code. You want to see a P for a purchase or an S for a sale. Anything else is something else. And I'm really not interested, but you can look to see what. And this tells us that these are share incentives, a share incentive plan that they've got going. It didn't cost them 1 penny to get 50,000 shares. And all of them, I checked them all. Every single one of these is part of that share incentive. Now, it seems to me this was a purchase. No, I think it said purchase, but he still didn't pay anything for them. Yeah, see, it says purchase right there. P, he got 50,000, same as everybody else, but he didn't pay anything for them. So that's the first time I've ever seen that. But there are no purchases, there are no sales, so there's nothing really there to consider. So that's what's going on with the company stock. Let's go look at this chart. I have not done a peekaboo on the chart. All right, let me copy that, because typing it, I can do it 13 times and still get it wrong. You know what I mean. All right, this is Nido. Lots of lines in the picture. If somebody will remind me, I'm going to take all these lines down. These are my supports and resistances. This is how we trade. We get into the stock, and the first thing I'm going to do is draw these, and we're going to be getting in just over top of one of these supports, and we're going to target our profit just underneath the next one. And if it's a strong run right that, we'll go to the second target. So we'll sell 50% right here, and we'll carry the rest up to here. Now look, we got another one. You could set the third target there, but this is why we're selling on the way up, because you never know when it's going to buckle and fall back. So this is how we trade, and this is what I do over at Penny Boys all day. We find hot charts, and I get these drawn up since I seem to be pretty decent at it, and everybody uses them to set their trades up. So I'm going to pull these away right now. Now, if I hit my Control Z before we leave, I get them all back. If not, I've got to draw every single one of those again, one by one. All right, let's go all the way back to a year. See what we were doing with Nido a year ago? I don't see any purple bubbles, which would indicate a reverse stock split, but I've seen on Thinkorswim, they don't always tell you here. So I don't think we've had a reverse stock split. So our high, it was $1.55. That was back in April of this year. She has been on a steady downhill trend here. She refused to break at any point over the 50, which is our strongest MA. We don't have a 200-day MA because she hasn't been selling enough shares. You got to create enough data for a 200-day MA to come on the board. We don't have it yet. So she is actually showing signs of wanting to climb. We've had some nice bounces here. I mean, this bounce here went from 56 cents up to $1.30. That's like 150% jump. This one here went from 27 cents up to 62. Again, 150% jump. This one here went from 27 cents up to $1.35. You're looking at 500% jump right there. And we got to keep over 300% of that. So she is definitely in a breakout now. Now, I'm expecting a pullback after a run like that. It's just common sense. But I don't think she's going to come back underneath the 50. I think she is now ready to start doing something. All of the chart is hot, as you would expect. Jump on down to our 6-month, 4-hour view. Again, she's doing the same thing with the 200 that she was doing with the 50 on the 1-day chart. She's popping through it, but she isn't really wanting to break out. She's got lots of opportunity. This is about as flat as you need a breakout, and she really didn't try. Now, it looks like 3 days ago, she did try. She started to push out right there. But 4 days ago, she just walked over it. No big excitement. She's just pushing up little by little. And then with the news today, she launched, and she did start at about 25 cents and got all the way up there to $1.35. And currently, it says we're at $1.07 if there wasn't any aftermarket activity. All of our oscillators are very, very hot. One of the ones I like to look at the most to give you the most indications, as far as I'm concerned, is your ADX, folks. The ADX has 3 lines in it. The yellow one tells you how strong the trend is that's on the chart. What do we see on the chart? It's an uptrend. Is there anything else to tell us that? That green line. That green line is your positive DM, directional movement. If it's on the top above the red, that tells you what trend there is. So this says we have a strong uptrend because the yellow line's up at the top and a weak downtrend pressing. So right now, this is all strong. RSI is in the overbought. All of our oscillators are climbing. Come on down to our 20-day, 1-hour view. Not a whole lot different there. We're just seeing a closer view, but we get to see our aftermarket activity. Exactly what we would expect. She hit a high. She was riding that 9-day on top of the 9-day. She then started to pull away from it. We got gap. She hit way up here. Now measure the gap from $1.35 all the way down to the 9 down here. 80 cents. From $1.35 to 80 cents. That's too big of a gap. The price is not an eagle. It does not fly high in the sky. It is a kangaroo. It can jump high, but it must come back down and bounce off something. So we anticipate this to come back down. And fingers crossed, it just comes down to the 9. And that's exactly what it did. It not only just touched it, it has already started to push back up. So this is looking prime for a continuation. Oscillators, everything is pushing up, still in the overbought. We have a strong uptrend going. Looking good. 5-day, 15-minute, not a lot of difference. We're just seeing how the trade went through the day now. We had some push off in the morning, a nice jump after the bell. She's bouncing on the 9-day. You don't get any better than that, folks. That's a light price. The 9-day is cracker thin. It's very easy to break. Your 20-day, think of it as balsa wood. Your 50-day, that could be plywood. And your 200s, oh, those are definitely planks. Those are solid pieces of lumber there. So if your price doesn't break the 9-day, you've got a nice uptrend going there. Even when she pulled back, only the wick has come through. The solid bars are hanging up top. That's what we want to see. When you see the solid bar come under the 9, like right there, that's when you are starting a downtrend. You can't climb unless you're on top of the 9. That's the very first token right there that things are going south. Now she has broken the 20. This is your first bounce zone for the kangaroo. If that's not thick enough, the balsa wood couldn't hold it. She's going to fall down to the thicker stuff down here. And this is probably going to hold her because we got two of them. 200 haul, very thick, and a 50, pretty bloody thick. Two of them together, mammy jammy thick. So this should come down, probably down to these, wherever it's at that time, and bounce off of these and continue growing. The chart looks like it wants to grow, but it needed a healthy pullback, and I think that's what we're getting right now. Oscillators, all pulling back right now. Everything is on a downtrend, and look, we have our negative DM, our red line on the top of the green. That means it's a downtrend. Now, this says the downtrend is getting weaker, but it's still strong, right? It's way up here at 80%. 100 is as strong as it can get. It does go down to 0, but it is falling right now, but it is still on the board. A downtrend weak or a downtrend strong is still a downtrend. All right, so I think she is going to climb. She's worth putting on your watch list with that sort of volume, with that sort of float, with that sort of excitement today. You got to watch her tomorrow. God only knows what's going to happen the second trading day of the year. All right, let me peek my head in over here, see what you folks are doing. Putting bets down. No, but I got a super sticker. You my man. You my man. I had to work 3 months to get those. Super stickers, shout outs. I don't know the difference, but it's a tip jar. It's a place where you folks can actually give me money. Yes, I'm telling you that. You know, I used to be a waiter, so I got no problem taking your money. And honestly, if I give you a tip, if I give you a lead, if something I did helps you to make a few bucks, I don't mind true appreciation. A thank you's cool. I do like that. And your subscribership is appreciated. But, you know, money talks and the rest you can't pay the bills with. Let's see, Harry. How you doing, Harry? Good to see you here, buddy. Baby Yoda. Yodi. Yeah. Jen Fari. Lots of you just dropping in. I appreciate you being here. It's 424. Spent some time on that stock, did I? Let's jump back on in there. Sorry about that. I can't do anything about it. I'm going to get rid of this, maybe get some more power back. Close about and don't do anything silly. Go ahead. Okay. Was LGH the next one I was supposed to do? Please say yes. Yes. Thought I deleted the wrong pages. LGHL came to us by way of The Underdog. Are any of you old enough to remember the cartoon? There's no need to fear. Underdog is here. No. It's okay. It's okay. Bulletins. We've got restructuring shares and votes. There's a lot going on. They had a shareholder meeting. We don't need to jump into it, but a lot of the proposals were about changing how many votes you get for Class B shares, how many votes you get for Class A shares. And they wanted votes for all the different shares. But the reason I checked the meeting was to see if there was going to be a reverse stock split. There wasn't. So we got that out of the way. And the big question is, what is it that this company really does? All right, so let's get into this. LGHL, this is a company out of Singapore. She's a foreign company, so don't go looking for any 10Ks or 10Qs. They're going to be 20Fs or 6Ks. This is Lion Group Holdings, finished today at 25. That's 6% or 6 cents. She is on the NASDAQ. She's under a buck. So we need to consider looking at 6Ks, 8Ks. It's hard. You can go to Google a lot of times. It'll save you going through every single 6K, especially if there's a lot of them. You can just go to Google, put in the ticker, put in the company's name, and put in compliance. Yeah, just put in compliance. And I'm sure that if it's out there, it'll come up on Google. But we need to concern ourselves with that, because if they've been under $1 for too long, they could have very little time before they do a reverse stock split or get thrown down to the OTC. So this company, what is it that they do? They tell us here, this is what I said. What does the company do? They tell us here that Lion Group is an asset management company. Also, the company provides wealth management, risk management, and other services. The company offers CFD trading services, insurance, brokerage services, future brokerage services, and security brokerage services. Okay, I get it. You deal with money in the business world, fintech of some sort. Gotcha. So the first thing I want to do to get a clearer picture is click that. Just go to their website, right? Ta-da, that makes it easy. What the hell is that? They're puffers. They're vapes. It's for smoking, except instead of vape, they call these puffers. You get anywhere from 2,000, 8,000 puffs on these things. They now come with electronic gadgets to measure your battery, increase voltage so you can create the puff to the size you want and flavor out, all this sort of stuff. So it's like, well, this is a little bit different, but I wasn't too sure yet. So I continued my dive. And the best place to go is into a news press to just get news. So now I'm going to dive into a filing. Well, when I went to the filings, I could not find a financial. I think all I saw was 6Ks. And it's like, oh my God. So you look for the dates. You look for the 30th or the 1st of the month, the end of the beginning, for when they file it for. That's the only dead giveaway you could get. So I found one of those. All right, so this is what I jumped into. It was a 6K. Now, thank God, look how big this is. That's it, folks. That's the entire thing. If I had found a 20F with this information, which is where this came from, it tells me that on page 82 of the 20F, this information can be found. I was just looking for a description of what the company does. 20Fs are not set up like 10Ks. They're not common sense. Just trying to find the outstanding share count in 20F is a monster task. You've got to learn the way they lay them out and then realize that's where you've always got to look on a 20F. 10Ks, you always look there. So I'm learning that fact. Well, this is what they say they do inside their 20F, which is a legal document. We are one of the few Chinese investor-focused trading platforms that offer a wide spectrum of products and services. Currently, our business lines include total return swap trading business, contracts for differences, trading services, over-the-counter stock options, options for OTC stocks. Can you believe that? Futures and securities brokerage services. We provide these services through our all-in-one Lion Brokers Pro app and a variety of other apps available through iOS, Android, PC, and Mac platforms. And I was seeing somewhere, because I was looking to see what this company did, so I'm not quite sure where I saw it, that they sell subscriptions for option trading. I have no idea what that is, but that's what they say they do. If you can make heads or tails of that, maybe they work with vaporizers. I don't know, but that's where the link took me. I checked it twice. That is where it went. So that is all I can tell you. We don't have any news. So I've got nothing I can actually throw at you for why it jumped 30% today. So let's see what the relative volume was on the company. Well, look at that. She went up 13 times the normal volume, going from 3 million a day over the last 30 days to almost 40 million. There's got to be a catalyst somewhere. Maybe on Twitter. I didn't jump on Twitter. You can always check Twitter. Let's see what we have for share structure. Yeah, nothing to brag about. Outstanding share count is 180 million. Don't know what the float is because they don't tell us what the insiders own. It can be figured out if you jump inside. Oh, have fun with the 20F on that. Once you figure out what they own, subtract it, that'll give you our float. But it's not going to be any higher than the outstanding share count. So it won't be any more than 180 million. And it could be considerably less, depending on how many shares the insiders own. Now, maybe we better not use that number. That was at December of 2023. The reason I say that, look here, our market cap. Market cap is under $1 million. We're at 681,000. To figure out the market cap, you take the price and you multiply it times the shares. Well, 1/4 of 180 million is not a 500,000. I think 1/4 of 180 would give you like what, 45 million? So this isn't right. I don't know why that is there. That says that is updated. Oh, see, that's a whole year ago. That's a whole year ago. So this is going to be wrong. We're going to have to, good luck with that. You're going to have to dive in. Just go to Google or Yahoo. Let someone else do the homework. Don't go diving through that thing, folks. It's a headache. It honestly is. All right, let's see if this company's making any money. They got something going on. Over the last 4 years, they've got revenues. 2020, we had 9.4 million. At the end of 2023, we had 15 million. Really dropped hard in 2022, but it doesn't cost them anything, but they're not saying they get any profit from that either. I don't understand. Foreign companies can be a real pain to figure out sometimes. We're not going to get any quarterly reports here, not because they don't have them, they just don't show up over here. Looking at their balance sheet and remembering those 3 zeros here, we've got 31 million in the bank. Assets were at about 75 million, with liabilities coming in at about 43. So we are holding positive stockholder equity in this company of $31 million. Now I'm looking over here to see if anybody dropped a comment for maybe a catalyst for this company that I missed. You guys know anything? Drop a comment over there. If I missed something, let me know. I don't mind being straightened out and led to the truth. Show me the way. Disclosures. See what I mean? Look at all these 6Ks. I didn't see these. Oh, but those go all the way back to June, so I'm not even concerned. SC13Gs, SC13Ds. These are when big investors come into the company, buy so many shares, they become a partner. They absolutely become an insider. A 13D and a 13G are different. I can't remember which is which, but one is a silent partner. Just take my money and make it grow. The other one wants a voice in what goes on around the company. So we had a couple of those happen back then. All right, let us go take a look now at the chart for LGHL. I don't have to remember it. I'm going to copy it. You guys following me? Yeah. I see the delay on my other computer. So here we are on the 15-minute. Let's kick the... Oh, I forgot to put my lines back. Hold it. I can do it right now, can't I? No, I already did it. Doggone it. Lost my lines. I hate when I do that. Somebody said, put your lines down, John. I'm looking at your comments now. I'm going to try to break in new habits here because I feel out of touch with you guys. And this is one of the only times we really get to interact live, except when you come over to Penny Boys. What's stopping you? It's free. You don't even have to say anything. You can just watch and see what we do. Take a few tips. They're free too. All right, here we go again. I'm going to get rid of my lines. Somebody please remind me to put them back. It's so much work putting them up. I am fast. I will grant you that. I'm probably one of the fastest people I've seen. We need a program that can do this. Do they have one out there? Draw supports and resistances? That would be a moneymaker. Ooh, I'd pay for it. So looking at the 4-hour chart. Yeah, why we go there? There's your yearly chart with no purple bubbles, and the price seems reasonable. So we got a high here of, right? We're supposed to be on an LGH, right? Yeah, okay. Isn't that the same price we had last time? $1.55. Kind of strange. Okay. So we're at $1.55. That was back in January. Been in a downtrend all this time. She hit a 52-week low here of 12 cents. She did that halfway through December. She is actually in a breakout setup here with the price in between both 200s. Your falling 200 MA, very strong and powerful, and your 200 Hall, same strength, same power, same authority, and it's coming up now. I have mine two different colors, so I don't have to look at it and try to figure it out. Blue means it's climbing. So the price is being pinched between two of the strongest MAs on the board. It's going to want to pop like a zip. And right now she is pushing towards the 200 MA and getting ready to pop. Everything is very strong down here. And look at that ADX, folks. Look at that green line going to the top. That's as strong as you can get. I mean, it's parabolic, and the yellow line is measuring how strong that uptrend is, and it's going parabolic too. So this is looking really good right now. RSI shooting up. Everything is hot on the yearly chart. Looking at our 6-month 4-hour, we got $1.04 as a high 6 months ago, and that downtrend. She just, like the last one, she's had many opportunities to break out, just never took them, which is always concerning to me. Then when I see a dip, when a stock is doing absolutely nothing, just going sideways, and then it drops all of a sudden, I don't know if there was news or not, but if it drops, I normally look for a jump higher than where it was. I think of it as a crouch and pounce. If it's minding its own business and it all of a sudden goes to a low bubble, yeah, a low bubble like that, to me, that says I need to crouch down and bend my knees if I'm going to jump any higher. And that's exactly what happened. Now, it took a little while. Maybe he's old. But once it jumped good. Came out from underneath every MA, went through every MA on top of the 200. Came back and settled on top of our 200 Hall, which it wasn't on before. And from this point, it was into strength. Now we've got life in us. We're bouncing around. Now we're up on top of the 200 MA, bouncing off of our 200 Hall. More excitement, more strength. She's out from underneath the water. If you're under the 200 MA, you're underwater. How fast can you move? You get up on top in the air. How fast can you move? That baby's flying. She jumped here from 20 cents up to 32 cents. So you're looking at 60% run right there. We had a pullback, and she is still well above all of her MAs, which are all climbing, all going through the 200, golden cross, golden cross, golden cross. That's when you get a turbo boost on the power of your price climb. All of our oscillators are hot, but there is a little bit of pullback right now, and I expect that after a big rip. Now, folks, I have a general rule. If the stock does something strange, I need to do something. If it's running really hard, and it hasn't been, this is a day I need to sell. Not a day to hold, a day to sell. I've been holding long enough. Now, I don't have to sell everything, but put some money in my pocket. I earned it. I've been holding this thing a long time. When she falls back, if she doesn't come all the way down, maybe you want to buy back in, maybe you don't. But man, if she comes all the way back down, you at least got an opportunity to put something in your pocket. If she is falling, then mind your own bloody business and starts to fall, hitting more than one low bubble, boing, boing, you need to do something. You need to get out if you haven't already gotten out. So right now, this stock is looking very hot on the 4-hour chart, the 1-year chart, and the 1-hour chart. Now, we've had a pullback. Where to? The 9-day. That's where she needs to go. That's what she's supposed to be bouncing off of. So we got lots of room here. See how she's bouncing. There's lots of air in here. There's our tag, our jump, dip underneath. She's coming back up. This looks great. Volatility. Bounces are great, folks. You can't have a stock go up, 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 up. If it does not turn around and slow up, it's going to crash. It's going to run out of fuel like a rocket stock. And a crash is not a pullback. That's a fall. All the way back down to where it started from, and normally even further. So we've got a pullback. right back to the 9. All of our oscillators are still climbing. I mean our MAs. Our oscillators are actually falling right now. That's okay. As long as she stays, this solid bar stays above that 9, I'm really not too concerned. But these are indicators, and since they are falling, they're telling me to watch it. She could come underneath if these things don't turn here real soon. Now, I see my RSI is bulling. Right now, she's scalloping up, and that's what we're going to look for. I still have my green line on top, my red underneath. Very strong, right? The yellow's on top. So this isn't looking bad. I'm not worried about a pullback. We have to have bounces. Look at the volatility. She is all over the place here, folks. And this is why I have, let me see if they still show up. My supports and resistances. Draw another one right there. We can obviously see we got one there. Everything's hitting its head. Things are bouncing on it there. Resistance, support. So we've got one here. And this is where we make our plays. She's just bounced off of that. She hit her head on this one. I'd expect her to come back down to this support, right where the 200 is going to be. It'll be a perfect time. She'll bounce off of both of them and probably start to climb again. Our oscillators aren't as strong on this chart. No siree. Everything is pushing down. The red line is on the top. Everything is going a little flat right now. So we're looking for it to start turning up. So we're watching it. But all of our MAs are over her head. She is underneath the 9. Can't climb till you're on top of the 9. So I am pretty convinced she's going to come down to this support. She's going to come down to that 200. From that point, we're going to watch. See if she dips or if she bounces. Let us move on to the next one without jumping back. I don't want to waste too much time here. I'm going to get rid of this one. Hopefully this is giving me more power. Next stock we're taking a look at is Nikola, Tesla's cousin. No. Nikola came to me by way of MBS. I think you had a different stock initially, didn't you? You took away that comment, put this one up. Okay by me. I'd rather you give me one than two. Nikola, this is a EV hydrogen truck company, though that's not the way they like to refer to themselves. And they are also working to support their trucking industry. Nikola Corporation, she's out of Arizona. That is in the U.S., in case you didn't know. She finished the day at $1, let's call it $1.29. She was up a little over 8%, almost 10 cents, and she is a hot penny stock on the NASDAQ. Speaking of, we didn't check all those things for LG. The last stock we looked at, we want to see if she's been under $1 for too long. I see that chart was downhill for a long, long time. So check either through all the filings or go do a search with the compliance as the key word to see if she's got a notice from the NASDAQ. All right, back to here. We're in good shape at this price at $1.28. Nikola, this is a company that I believe was one of the companies with EV cars, maybe even before that. There were a lot of semi trucks, these 18-wheelers, all ready to go on the road, already built. And I believe most of them were hydrogen. Now imagine that. We didn't even have EV vehicles yet, and we had hydrogen semis ready to go. I think there was like $30 billion worth of them ready to hit the roads. And that was a long time ago. Well, here we are. We're timing it perfectly, folks. They have both of them. They call the electric truck the BEV, battery EV. And then this is the hydrogen, which they call the FC EV. That's fuel cell EV. I don't know why they just don't call it EV and HV. Wouldn't that be easier? Electric and hydrogen, EV, HV. I know they both run on electricity, but you know, it would make the point very clear and distinctive for people. So they've got the hydrogen truck and they've got the electric truck. And there's a huge difference between the two of them, folks. A BEV, gets 300 miles in these things, in these huge trucks, 300 miles per charge. But the FC EV, the hydrogen, gives you 500 miles per charge. Folks, that's a huge difference. If I was running a trucking operation, I'd be going hydrogen. And then, of course, since these are infant industries and they've been waiting to get them on the road because of a lack of infrastructure, they're going to work on the infrastructure as well. They're going to start producing hydrogen and hydrogen stations, and they're going to create electric charging points. That is all part of their game plan as well. All right, let's see what's been highlighted and what's not. Oh man, why is my computer so slow? I've got no news. Looking for news elsewhere. My favorite news site, folks. This is Stock Titan. Stock Titan is an AI news site. They bring in news really quick for all stocks, not just stocks on the major exchange, OTC, all of them. They also have a momentum scanner over here. This is a what's running now, running downhill, running uphill. You can get this for free anytime. And the news I like because they've got actually a bell. I can click the bell, and whenever new news comes in, ding, I know there's new news. I'd like that. Well, I came over here to find, let's see if I can just back up. Oh, and I lost all my highlights for it. So first off, the AI reads the news for you and gives you a blurb. It gives you a breakdown of what the news is, so you don't have to read the whole bloody article. And it does it in a few different places, depending on how much time and how much information you want. Up at the top, it'll break down the whole company. Just let you know what's going on up here with the company. Then you get their news, all the news, and then you can dive into one. On the 18th of December, the company secured new HYLA location in West Sacramento, California. This is a phase 1 facility, which will have capacity to fuel up 20 Nikola hydrogen fuel cell electric Class A trucks. That's what they call those semis, Class A trucks. Then they had a piece of news in October. Nikola Corporation releases inaugural sustainable impact report. They told us they had 114 total vehicles sold in 2023, and then break down a whole bunch of other metrics that you may be interested in. This was another dealership in California, Fontana, and they tell us here this now brings the company's total locations to 19 across the U.S., furthering the company's commitment to expanding their distribution network. Now, let's see if I got some other stuff here from filings, maybe. Yes, I do. This was kind of interesting. I don't know why they didn't put a news press out on this. On December 9th, the company entered into an equity distribution agreement with BTIG. The company has them lined up to buy up to $100 million worth of the company's stock. And it's up to the company when this BTIG does it. So BTIG has agreed to buy up to $100 million worth of stock at the company's will. That's a neat thing to have lined up. And then they have some shares coming onto the market. I didn't dive into this deep, but they tell us here there are up to 53 million shares of common stock, and then 23 million shares of stock issuable upon exercise of warrants. Warrants are stock. They are penny stocks. They support the company's stock. Warrants are promissory notes. They're coupons. You can play them like stock, get in and get out. I'm in FFIEW right now. I got that at 8 cents. Well, when you look at other companies that are at $5 and $6 on their stock, warrants are normally 8 to 10%, which would put that warrant at 30, 35 cents. It's at 8 cents right now. So I bought 3,000 shares, which is $30 for every penny it moves. Well, if it goes from 8 cents to 16 cents, I've doubled my money. If it goes up to that 30, I'm making some real good money. Well, warrants run on good news on the company, and they normally run further, faster, and harder on less volume. So warrants can be great plays, but once they're exercised down the road, that's what they are. They're coupons to buy shares cheap. Share may be $1 today, and they say with this warrant, you can buy a share at $1.25. Who cares about that? Well, it's good for 5 years. So 3 years down the road, it's up to $20. And you can buy a share for $1.25 if you have a warrant. I got 3,000 of them, but I'm going to sell them as stock and get my money. But you could cash them in like Warren Buffett does. He makes millions of dollars off of warrants. Give him a warrant, $1.25, you just got yourself a $30, $20 share. Well, you don't get the share, you just get the money. But that's what they're for. So they are going to be exercising warrants. That gives birth to new shares, 23 million. Plus, they're putting 53 million more shares on the market. That's going to give us about 76, 77 million more shares. So what was the relative volume around Nikola today? She was up over 100% of her normal volume, jumping from roughly 10 million to 23 million. Share structure for the company is at about 61 million. No clue what the insiders own, so I don't know what the float is. Won't be any higher than 60 million. Could be considerably less. Market cap right now is at about 72.5 million. Financials. Are they making money? Yes, they are. No, they're not. They're generating revenues. They went from, let's call it 50 million in 2022 down to 35 million. But look at what they're losing. 2023, they did $36 million in revenues, and it cost them $214 million to do that business. How do you do that? How do you survive and stay in business another year doing that? Wow. Looking at their quarterlies, well, they've actually been increasing, though they did take a dip this last quarter in September from 31 million down to 25 million. But they have yet to pull in a profit. They're losing money hand over fist. I mean, my God, look at this. They did 7 million and lost 57 million. I mean, that's multiple hundreds of percent down, tens of thousands of percent down. This one, we're at 61 million. So they're losing a lot of money right now. Take a look at that balance sheet. Do we dare? Well, they got a lot of money in the bank, about 201 million. Total assets, over $1 billion in assets. Liabilities, yes, we're down there at 650 million. So we have positive stockholder equity. We got revenues. We got positive stockholder equity of 380 million, but we don't have any profit. Whatever they're doing over there, they got to fix that. I don't know. I haven't jumped into their financials, but my God, they've got to tweak that quick. Taking a look at the disclosures. 424, these are for the stock. The effect, this is real short. This is the gun. Boom. Whenever they have a filing that says, we're thinking about putting shares on the market, and you see the effect come out, they just did it. So that's what that was. Shares are now on the market. Nothing else here really to look at. Not saying it's not important, but we got better things to consider. So let's take a look now at NKLA, Nikola. Yes. Let's see what we got here. What do you think about quantum computer? Is that, you mean the company or just quantum computers in general? Quantum computing's hot, folks. We know it. Oh, you didn't do it. NKLA, Nikola. Quantum computing is hot. All the stocks have been taking off. RGTI, QBTS, QUBT. There's also FCCN, SCPCF. We're talking about smaller companies. There's some big companies out there, but we're not playing those big ones. So yeah, quantum computing right now, it is probably over emphasized on the market. They haven't got the value built up yet. They haven't got that much business. But the company I like is SCPCF because they are quantum protection. Every company has to protect themselves from quantum attacks. You got to get that in place before quantum gets there. So I'm thinking SCPCF has got a better chance of moving fast than these other companies when it comes to value. That's just my way of thinking. Jumping back to a 1 day, 1 year chart from Nikola. Nikola, potato, come on. I heard you. So looking at Nikola, back in April, we had a high of $34.50. Wow. But look at there, purple bubble, right? Purple bubble. We've got a reverse stock split of 1 in 30, which means we have to divide that by 30. When they did the reverse stock split, everything on this chart was multiplied by the ratio of that split. In this case, it happens to be 30. So they multiplied everything. I don't care if this stock's been here 10 years. And 10 years ago, the high was $1 one day. It's going to read $10 now. And nobody knows that. They don't tell you anywhere this chart is adjusted. Nope. So somebody who comes into the market a year from now and comes back here to see how high Nikola was, look at this. And that's just here. I see the stock is still going up, so it's probably got some silly price. Mullen's had 4 reverse stock splits. They multiply out. If you have a 10 and a 10, that's equal to 100. 10 times 10. So you got to multiply everything times 100. Well, she's had 4. Go look at her high. I think it's something like $34 billion. It says it on the chart. $34 billion is the high on the chart. Come on. No stock has ever been that high. So this high doesn't matter. The chart itself hasn't changed. But, I forgot to put my lines back, didn't I? No, I did. I did this time. The chart's the same. She did hit the 200 here, and look how flat she is. She had a good chance of breaking out somewhere here. She didn't do it. She teased us, came right up to it, and then fell away, all the way back down to here. And I'm going to leave those lines because they're not going to bother us. We hit a low of $1.08. We did that just at the end of December. Our oscillators, and let me back this up. Can't get too close. You can't read them. We've got an uptrend, believe it or not, that is getting weaker right now. Our MACD is climbing. Our RSI, boy, that's tough to read. She is trying to come up right now. So we've got an attempt right now to change things. Let's come down to the 4 hour. It's just going to be easier to see. Maybe $21 is our high. I don't think so. So we're in a downtrend. We're definitely falling underneath that 200. God, let me get rid of all these lines. You really can't see through all that, can you? C'est la vie. So we've got ourselves a atypical breakout setup. What that is your price is on top of the 50, perfectly. 200 haul underneath, just starting to turn up, perfect. 200 MA coming down. We've got the 200 squeeze with the price on top of the 50. This is perfect, folks. You don't get any better. Right now, we're going to watch this to hit and rip through that 200 MA. Now, she could possibly drop down to the 200 haul. And if she did, I would be willing to bet right then and there she's going to get a Babe Ruth and get knocked out of the park to and through the 200, right over the fence. But when she gets over, she's going to stop. And then she's going to come back down and she's going to bang on top of this 200 a few times. That's just par for the course. So don't expect the first breakthrough to be the run. Take that gain. Wait for her to come back down and make another entry after she gets her bearings back. Oscillators here. Look at that green line. Strong on the top. Yellow line pushing it up hard. Our RSI is climbing strong right up underneath the overbought. We have just had a crossover, it looks like, on our MACD. Sure did cross the signal line. Look at all these green bars coming into the picture. And our PPO has just had a crossover as well. Lots of power coming into the picture right now. Lots of positive crossovers. Yeah, I can make this right for you. So there was our stab through, $1.55. That appears to be a real there. No reverse stock split to worry about. Came down to the 200 haul. Was riding that. Here we go, right? Going sideways, sitting on the 200, minding her own business, drops to a low bubble super fast. Crouch and pounce. Boink, there she goes. Now, normally I don't get in down here because I don't know it's a crouch and pounce. But normally there's a hesitation before the rip. That hesitation comes right back up to home, right back to where she was. Well, when I see her drop, hit a low bubble, come back up to where she was, that's my entry. Now I'm confident she's probably going to continue with the rest of the momentum from this slingshot. And that's exactly what happened here. We went from one high down to a low and we ripped. Now it wasn't dull rip, but this was a good play. You could have made money on that. But this shows us she's getting antsy. She wants to do something. She just isn't doing it. But when she decided to, she did it. She jumped here from $1.12 to $1.44, 30% gains right there. Came back down to the 200, bounced off of it very quick. Another rip down to the dynamic duo, our 50 and 200 haul, back up. Now we're floating on the 20. She's doing a lot of bouncing, but she's graduating. She's not bouncing off the 200. She's climbing. So a lot of people freak out as soon as they see a stock fall. And it's like, dude, when you breathe in and breathe out, I don't think because you exhaled at your last breath. I expect you to take another breath. Inhale. This is just breathing in and out, in and out. Let it bounce. Watch the MA. See if the kangaroo has ground to jump on and if she's respecting those areas. And if you see a wick come through multiple MAs, look, our solid bar stayed up here, but the wick went through the 20, the 50, and the 200 haul. That's 3 different levels of dirt. 3. That is a foundation, a pillar. Like you're building a skyscraper. You got to get deep in the ground if you want to go high. To me, that's a pillar. I look for a run as soon as I see a wick go through multiple MAs, but the bar, the solid bar, stays home. Immediately, this took off. There's a tip for you. You can put that to use. Aftermarket, we've got a nice climb on that 20. Everything is looking good. All of our oscillators are all starting to cusp up now. Every single one of them hit the bottom and is starting to turn up. Looking good on a 30-minute. Let's come on down to our 5-day 15-minute. She's floating on her 50, folks. Everything is perfect here. All of our MAs are climbing. 200 is on an uphill climb. All of our oscillators are now up. Every single line is pushing up. And let's take a look at that ADX. We have an imminent crossover happening right here. See how they're going to trade positions? The red is on the top. The green is on the bottom. They're about ready to switch. This is as weak as it can get. It's starting to come up. If the green crosses over and this yellow line starts to climb, we're going to get another strong push here, folks. Nikola. Looks like she is ready for a continuation in my book. I like this stock. She's going to be on my watch list for tomorrow. We may end up playing this over at Penny Boys. I need a drink. I am going hoarse again, folks. Hick whiff. I don't know how you pronounce that. Good to have you here. Please NNC. We'll see if we have time. I've been doing a lot of jabbing here. I know that. Mr. X. Corkin. Yes, I think we looked at a couple times today at Penny Boys. She has been catching some heat. Benjamin, great to have you here, friend. Lots of new names. I like seeing new names. J.K. Kim, good to see you. CLSK. I don't know if we'll get to it. And look at you, calling me the Wizzy. You know, only those people that know me close and dear call me Wizzy. You must be following me. All right. I do have another stock here all lined up. It is 5:03. Let us dive into this. I don't care about that. We are now going to look at iQST. This came to me by Mr. Kashera. The company, they are pushing toward that $1 billion revenue. They like to talk about how their revenues are growing and they want to hit it by 2027. Not saying they're doing it this quarter, but they're pushing towards it. And that's what they talk a lot about, even in their description, talking about how much money they're making. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is the whole point to what stocks and companies are supposed to be doing on the market. Making money, making more money. Ta-da, they're doing it. iQST Inc. This is a company out of Florida. She finished today at 32 cents, was up 6.5%. She's on the OTC. I think this is the first one we've seen today on the OTC, the over-the-counter market. These are stocks that are on a decentralized market. Doesn't get as much oversight, not as many rules down here. There's not a whole lot of criteria to meet. What they do is have 3 separate tiers. QX is the best. It's as close as you get to the major exchange without being on the major exchange. You get all the filings, all the financials. You get good companies here. Heineken, Daikin, EasyJet, L'Oreal, Nintendo, Nike. Why are they here? Because they're foreign companies and they can't get on to the major exchange. Like Nissan, Honda. I think Honda's on the major exchange. Mitsubishi, they're down here because they're foreign companies. They don't have any corporate offices here in America. There's also lots and lots of banks on the QX because if you have less than 2,000 investors, you can be on the OTC, and it's a lot cheaper to be on the OTC markets. So this company's on the QX. The QB is the middle tier where you have to start getting financials, and then you got your pinks, which is the ghetto. This is your startup companies that have nothing to show you. They have no proof in the pudding. There is no validated information. There is no filings. What you get are a lot of news presses. We like to call that hype. So be careful when you put your money into a pink. You don't want to be in that company very long because most of the news turns out to be hype. So if you want to play it, by all means, I love hype. I love a good pump and dump. Get in there, get out, take your gains. I don't care why you ran. Doesn't even have to be a legitimate reason. The money's legitimate, and I'm going to take that part of it. So iQST, being on the QX, she comes with a lot of validated information. She has a verified profile and a validated verified transfer agent, which is the only information you get with the pink. I tell everybody when you come over here to the OTC Markets website, look for these green ticks. This is their job. They do all of this background information work for these companies. They are penny stock exempt. That's interesting. Even though they're 32 cents and on the OTC market, they are not considered a penny stock in the business world. They're not. The reason for that is they've been on the market for more than 3 to 5 years, have had more than $1 million worth of revenues or assets during that time period, and have maintained good financial records. So they've proven themselves to be adults. Even though they may be 15 years old, 32 cents, they've proven that they don't need oversight like these risky startup companies. So this is not a penny stock, even though it's really a penny stock. And then they list independent directors over here. Independent directors are listed on this website when they have serious aspirations of uplisting. It's not just hype they're throwing into a news press. No, this is legitimate, but maybe they uplisted from the QB to get to the QX. Maybe they do want to go up to the NASDAQ. I do believe that's their plan. All right, so let's see what we can learn about this company. I'm going to jump over to their website because this company does an awfully lot. There's a lot of due diligence you can do here, so we're just going to put this in a nutshell. I am at their website, iQST.com. iQST is a telecommunications and technology holdings company, which means they buy up other small companies that need help, whether it be financial help or support with technology or whatever it is. The holdings company want to make them successful and then spin them out. Put them out onto the market. We get free shares when they do that. Holdings companies are always good investments if they have good companies that they're getting. No, I don't want to look at all the news. Let's get rid of that. Thank you. I appreciate you giving it to me. So here's what we're looking at. The telecommunications division includes VoIP, which is voice over internet protocol. That is us talking. When you hear anybody talk online, that is VoIP. And there's a couple companies that have patents for this. Some very small companies on the open market that are suing all the big companies right now because they've all been using VoIP and they have not been paying this little company all their just dues. I think we've talked about the company a couple times. The name escapes me. I bet one of you guys know it. You can put a comment down there. They also work with international fiber optics, proprietary Internet of Things, and proprietary mobile portability blockchain platform. They have a fintech division, which includes remittance services, top-up services, MasterCard debit card, a U.S. bank account with no social security number required, and a mobile app. This is good for the bankless community, which there's a lot of out there for a lot of reasons. You don't have to be a criminal. There's just a lot of reasons people don't have banks. But this gives you a bank account without having to use a social security number. It gives you a credit card so that you can do business online. Without a bank account, what are you going to do? How do you buy anything online? I mean, and some places only take credit. You can't even use cash. So what do you do? So that's a product just for that. They also have an electric vehicles division, which offers electric motorcycles and plans to launch a mid-speed car. Now, the last electric motorcycle I heard that they were dealing with, and I'm hoping I'm wrong here, was Ally. I think it was ticker ALLY. Are they still on the market? God, this was a company up Pink that was hyping the hell out of everything in Africa. Electric companies, electric motorcycles, and the electric motorcycle they showed us that they developed, they showed riding it down an alleyway. It had smoke coming out the back. What? How do you have smoke from an electric vehicle? So I kind of lost faith in that, and iQST was dealing with Ally now, but I have not seen them mention Ally anywhere else. So hopefully that's a different motorcycle company. And they're also dealing with the Metaverse division, which includes an enriched, immersive, white label proprietary Metaverse platform, which means they've got something already pre-made and built that can be tailor-made to fit anybody's needs, and they can sell it to groups, corporations, companies, organizations, and they can fix it up to make it what they want. So they don't have to put all the work into making a metaverse. So here it's just made. We've seen lots of make your own internet sites like that. That's what this is. All right, so key highlights. Revenue 2022, 2023. They got to update their website, don't they? All right, so let's see what information we got. I still got my highlights. Look at that. I am back here to October 28th, where iQST launched AirWeb, a revolutionary 24/7 AI assistant for customer engagement across web and phone channels. Lots of companies are using conversational AI. As a matter of fact, I think the next company we're going to look at, LPSN, it's all about conversational AI. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's going to get thinned out. I mean, there's going to end up being some big key players out there, but there's lots of companies working with drive-up service, phones you call up, you're not talking to a human, you're talking to AI, chat online, mobile phones, all sorts of stuff now. And they're getting into that as well. Let's see. November 4th, the company advances global expansion with strategic acquisition agreement to fully consolidate Swiss link carrier and ANSI telecom powerhouse. I think I actually have a... no, that's not it. It's somewhere here. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, there. It's in a filing here. On November 1st, 2024, the company entered into a memorandum of understanding with Mr. Ralph Kohler. He is Swiss link carrier. They are going to buy 49% of the company, and they're going to pay for it with shares. And the value of the company is set at $750,000. Let's see. iQST sets the stage for explosive growth with $340 million revenue forecast for 2025. Now let's see what news I passed up here. All right, this was a shareholder letter from the CEO. Love these. These are a place where you get all the information for what the CEO's done and what his plans are for the future. He wants to brag and boast. So we got lots of information in these. They normally don't put any great titles on them, but you need to jump into them. So breaking down some of the bullets here, which I did have highlighted, and I remember where they're all at. In alignment with their commitment to becoming a $1 billion revenue company by 2027. These are things that are going on. Record revenue. Revenue for the first 9 months reached $184 million. That's an impressive 89% year-over-year increase. NASDAQ uplisting. They're serious about it. iQST stockholders' equity has met NASDAQ's minimum requirements, with final investment bank selection underway to guide the uplisting process. There are a lot. You've got to have a certain number of shareholders. You got to have a certain amount of assets, stockholder equity. You got to meet all these criteria. It's like my last date. Man, I didn't cut it. There was half a page there. I never ticked a single box. They're ticking them all right now. So it looks like they're serious about going to the NASDAQ. That is a big catalyst. Getting off of the OTC puts you in front of traders that never look at the OTC market. You'd be amazed how many people don't even know what the OTC market is. So when they get onto the NASDAQ, they're going to be in front of people who are going to be seeing this company for the very first time. And that's what's exciting. You get to see how fast they launch this or turn their back on it. But if we see a lot of activity on the QX, normally you see that just magnified on the major exchange. Global reach, iQuest now operates with 100 employees across 20 countries with 6 offices, providing 24/7 support across 17 time zones. And the launch of their high-tech, high-margin products. The company has introduced their AI-driven AirWeb. Doesn't cost anything for that AI to talk to people. That is cheap, cheap, cheap. It probably cost them to buy it, but now it's just profit all the way along. And they are preparing to launch a cybersecurity solution in the first quarter of 2025. So they are creating more revenue streams, which is what this company's been doing all along, just increasing revenue streams. And now they've got a couple more going for them. Was there anything else I had here? I hit that one and the last one, which we didn't get to right. There is a stockholder meeting coming up. Do I see a date here? Date and time, January 31st. I only dove into this not to tell you that there was a stockholder meeting, but I wanted to see what their proposals were. This is a heads up. If there's going to be a reverse stock split to vote on, there's going to be a reverse stock split approved. I haven't seen one not approved yet. And if there's going to be one, you want to know. There's not one. So we're all clear in that department. So let's see what the relative volume for the company was today. She's up like 3 times as much, going from 0.3 million to 39 million. Share structure is a little high. We're at 203 million. Insiders own 16 million. We get all the rest, 186 million. I wouldn't worry about any reverse stock splits. I think the share structure is fine for the major exchange. That looks great. Market cap, we're at about 61 million. Financials for the company. Oh, now that looks good. I would like to see more profit, but the profit's growing regularly. Revenues have jumped from 45 million 4 years ago to 145 million. Big jump. Our revenues, though we increased by about 3.5, 4 times on revenues, looks like our profit's growing right there along with us. We went from roughly $1 million to $4.5 million. Looking good. No, quarterly, my bad. Quarterlies, yeah, that's not bad. We did have a pullback this last quarter. Who knows why? Seems a lot of companies have had a pullback last quarter. But she was at 54 million, dropping from 78, still pulling profits, still in the black. Balance sheet, you've got some money in the bank, about 2 million, 32 million in assets. About 2/3 of that is liabilities, coming in at 24, which gives us just about, let's call it 8 million, just to be optimistic, roughly 8 million in stockholder equity. So we've got revenues, we got profit, we got stockholder equity, we got revenue growth. Everything looks good on the fundamental side. And it looks like they're dead serious about uplisting in the NASDAQ. We are seeing the little flowers coming out on the tree. You know, the fruit's right behind the flowers. Taking a look at the disclosures. Def 14A. I never remember what these are. That stockholder meeting. I showed that one to you. And let's see. There's their most recent financial. 10Ks and 10Qs are pretty easy to read. They're all laid out pretty much in the same format. You get used to how to read one, you can read them all. You'll know exactly where to go to find any kind of piece of information that you're looking for. So I would say get used to doing your due diligence inside these 10Ks and 10Qs. They cover everything on the company since they incorporated. Why would you want to go anywhere else? And if you just want to do quick due diligence, QDD, put in a date, 2024 or September. Just pick a month or a year. Boom, 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 boom. You can find stuff real quick, no matter how long that thing is. All righty then. Let us take a look now at the chart for iQST. What time is she? 20 minutes after. I think we're doing okay, but I didn't get to look at anything you guys brought me. I know I talk a lot. All right, iQuest. We got a few lines on here, but obviously we haven't looked at this in a while, but she's been climbing since I did look at her last. All right, we're looking at a 1-day, 1-year chart. I don't see any purple bubbles. Price looks reasonable, so I'm not believing there was any reverse stock splits. This is back in April. We're at roughly 40 cents. And our 52-week low is roughly 14 cents, and that came at the end of November. Between the two bubbles, it was all downtrend. She came down right in this area. She crossed over that 200. She was underneath every single MA here. This was a very important point here. She crossed something. Here she is underneath her 9-day, and she's crossing the 200. She's not climbing, but she's making very strong headway here. That was a sneaky move to be under the 9 and cross the 200. And boom, she was excited about that. Nah. She jumped there from 14 cents up to 20 cents. Not a big jump, but if you're scalping, that's a 30% jump. Nothing wrong with that at all. Once she got up on top of the 50, she came back down to the 200. And what did I tell you earlier? You get up on top of the 50, between the two 200s, there's a chance that she could drop back down to the 200 haul and then get a Babe Ruth. She'll get smacked all the way to and through that 200 like she's going over the fence. And once she jumps, she'll come back down to the 200, and then she'll start to bounce a few times before she rips. This is par for the course. She's doing everything as can be expected. She's looking good. We had a jump there from 14 cents up to 37 cents from bubble to bubble. We haven't got a high here yet. We're about ready to break that. Our high is at 39 cents over the last year. Oscillators, everything is hot. ADX is beautiful. Green bar on the top going up, parabolic. Having a U-turn on that yellow, getting stronger. All of our other oscillators are following suit. Volume is very strong. I'm loving this chart. iQST is a hot chart. Definitely a hot stock to be bringing to us. All right, looking at our 6-month, 37 cents down to that $1.42. Good look at that. Right, laying on that 200 haul. Here, as soon as she's going, not at it, but very close to it, she got up on top of that 50, and when it turned blue, she ran to the 200. Right there, folks, you can see there is a big difference between the 200 haul and the 200 MA. The 200 haul is a friend to the price. It helps the price to climb. The 200 MA don't give a hoot. It'll drown us. Look at this. We're underwater. We can't get up. We're here on top of the 200 haul, beating ourselves against the 200 MA. We've come down. We've taken a dip, crouch and pounce, get back up on top of that 200 and launch to and through the 200. And what a launch that was, folks. That was huge. The 200's right there. She got way up here. She pulled back only to her 9-day. Look at how high she is from where she started. There was a lot of room to fall, but she only came back to the 9-day. She floated on that for many days. Came back down, virtually touched our 200, got back up on top of our 50, and she's riding, elevating herself, getting back on the 9. Here we go again, folks. All of our oscillators are very strong with a little bit of pullback right now, but she's still on top of the 9. I'm really liking these charts. Everything is hot. So she's going sideways basically here for most of this time. She had some roll arounds. She hit a high here of 31, hit a low of 19, hanging around the center between the two. Right here, where our 200 haul starting to change. This is when things are changing again. All going blue. Zoom, zoom, zoom. She's off and running. She got very high above the 9, so what's going to happen? Right, she's going to pull back probably to the 20. Now we have a big wick here, but I see the solid bar is coming underneath. She needs to come back down. We need a healthy pullback. If you want a strong run, you need to come down to get all of your MAs tight. Because when they start to spread apart, she's going to have to pull back again. So get these things as tight as you can before she starts to run. So we would like to see this come back to our 20-day MA, and that would probably be a good entry. Now keep in mind, a lot of these stocks are teasing at the 20. They're actually falling back down to the dynamic dual, the 50 and the 200. That's happening like 7 out of 10 times. 3 out of 10 times it's bouncing off the 20. So be very cautious. Don't jump the gun. We only buy in on a green bar. You buy in on a red bar says it's falling. So it's very likely the next bar it's going to fall again, and it's going to be cheaper than what you just paid. So buy on a green bar, folks. Don't buy on red bars. Come on down to our 5-day, 15-minute. That's good. Look at this. Low bubble in this corner, high bubble in that corner. You can't ask for anything better. Doesn't matter what happens in the middle. High and low. So we've got a low of 21 to 36. That's over 30% right there. She's come back down to the 50, which is what she's been bouncing on. She did come through here. She came down to our strong support through the 200 with a wick, came back up, got back up on that 9, floated on the 9, crashed down to the 50, nowhere near the 200. 200's climbing, 50's climbing, everything's climbing. Look how many bars have laid on that 50. Now, she could fall. We're not saying she can't. She would probably go somewhere there. This is where she laid for a very long time. We got another one, obviously, right there. She hit her head over it over and over again. So if she comes underneath the 50, we could hope for a bounce here. Now, the 200 is here, and she really bounces off of MAs and not supports. So you may have to come back to the 30-minute and see if she's sitting on top of it here. On your 15-minute, you may see her dangling right there above the 200 in the middle of two supports going, oh no, she's coming all the way down. But as soon as you go back to the 30-minute, she's right on that 50-200. So use all your charts. Don't get stuck just in this short time zones. A lot of what's happening is happening on the 15-hour and the 4-hour. Glance at them. Make sure you're above the 9. Make sure you're above the 20. Things look good. Then come back and start playing again. All right, so I like iQST. This is a hot stock. We've got lots going on. I like the fact that she's going to uplist. That would be outstanding. This company's been talking about that for a long time. And everything we just read sounds like it's imminent. And it'll just happen. It's not like they're going to come out and say, next week on the 2nd. I mean, they could, but I don't think they'll announce their uplisting. I think it'll just happen. Maybe we'll get an announcement. That'll be a good one, too. Then when it gets uplisted, it will start running on the NASDAQ. Wouldn't that be fun? We'll have to wait and see. iQST. It's on my watch list. Put it on yours, too. Probably won't be bothered by it at all. What time is it? 5:27. My voice is shot, and I'm running out of time. And look at all of you kind people bringing in these tickers. Looking at them now. Cooler. Yeah, cooler. Cooler is a good one. Cooler just had extra division they've just brought in. They've been working with thermodynamics to protect lithium explosions and fires. They have cell dividers inside batteries because every lithium battery has a couple hundred smaller lithium batteries in them. So you got to put these dividers in them. So if one blows up, it doesn't ignite. Pop, 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 all the rest. They've got envelopes you can mail batteries in, which the post office has approved. Those are actually approved for mailing in airports or, airports and planes. It will hold the explosion and the heat. But now they're also working with vibration. Vibration. I know there's a different word for it, but they are working with bringing vibration down on all sorts of different things. And I think they just got a contract here from somebody big, the Army or somebody like that, to help with some equipment. What else we looking at down here? Hi, Stuva Football. Interesting name. How old are you? Me? I just turned 50 13 years ago. I'm 63. Yes, 63. Hi, Stock Wizard. It's Klaus Fossa. Hello, Klaus Fossa. I know that name from somewhere, but where I've seen it, God only knows where. Well, folks, I have appreciated my time with you. I'm sorry I didn't get to any of the stocks that you brought in, but we did get a couple of hot stocks here. I definitely am going to be taking a look at iQST. What's this? Got some information. Hey, John, was hoping you could do DD on APLD. Upcoming earnings in 11 days? Yext. Had a double break on low volume after a recent drop on earnings. Well, there's a couple places. Yeah, I like that. You guys bring in information. Even if I don't say anything about it, you guys know about it now. I don't have to tell you. You guys can tell each other. Be a group of comrades, helping each other out. That's what I love about stock trading. This isn't a competition. It's a community. And that's why I do what I do for free. I just like to help people. Doing good feels good. Do I like getting paid? Yeah, I like getting paid. Do I like seeing you making money? I like seeing you make money. So doing good and seeing you make money, it's almost orgasmic. Almost. All right, folks, I'm out of here before I cross the line. I'll see you next week, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. I do put out the call for this video earlier in the day. Look for it on Discord, Facebook, or Twitter. Get your tickers in there. I do have a home group that is normally monopolizing the game, but I love you. I'm not complaining. So if you want to beat them, you got to be quick, folks. You got to get that ticker in as soon as you see my announcement for the video. I'll see you next week, folks. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye. Home Alone every time? Okay.